Don, Bryce Gibbs, was that a statement? Is it a concern? What do you make of it?
Oh no, it's just it's a matter of form, and as I think we quoted last night, his form's been pretty patchy for us in the areas, across the whole areas of the game. I mean, it's easy to look at possessions and those sorts of things, but we look at his total game, and he acknowledges that, and so it gives an opportunity to go back and I'm sure he will go back and perform really strongly and put himself up for selection again.
Did you see it coming for a number of weeks? Or?
Oh, we've been having some conversations with him, yeah.
Was it defensive pressure, Don, mainly?
Oh, I'm not going to go into the details exactly what it is. I mean, it's between sort of Bryce and match committee and myself and bits and pieces. There's some things in his game he needs to work on. We know he's a quality player, and we want him in our best 22. But he's got some things he's just got to tidy up. And when he does that, I expect he'll push for selection really soon.
How did Bryce take the news?
Yeah, he's disappointed. I mean, we're talking about professional athletes, and he's disappointed by that, but also very accepting and very aware of now what he needs to go and do. So he's got real clarity, and as I said, it's a good opportunity for him to respond on Saturday.
He was fourth in the best in Ferris last year. He's played every game for the club since coming across from Carlton. How much of a shock is this for the group, or does everyone just realise that it's obviously it's a form decision? It's the best thing for the team.
Yeah, exactly that. It's a form decision. It's best for the team. We work on a merit-based system. So that's the reality. Is the guys earn their spots in teams, and we get some guys who are experienced, who have played a lot of footy, but you've still got to perform, and that's what it came down to. We had in our sample team, we had Cam Ellis-Yeoman, who's been playing really strongly and really well, and at this stage we just assessed that Cam's a better alternative for this weekend than Bryce. So I wouldn't look into more detail on that. It's as simple as it is.
It was the only unforced change you've made this week. Obviously, the other one with Paul Seedsman's injury. Are there some other players that were maybe a little bit fortunate to retain their spot this week?
Well, as I said, we're merit based, and we've got some guys who I think's been acknowledged as are not in their best form. And there's always a challenge as a match committee to go, at what point do you support those guys, back those guys in to return to form? And clearly we've got some guys, and if we look at some of our guys ahead of the ball in our forward line, they're not playing as well as we know they're capable of. So there's an opportunity for them, but I'm confident they'll respond. They've got some real clarity about what it looks like, and they know what they need to do to continue to play their role in the team.
When you're talking your forward line, the guys ahead of the ball, it's obviously very experienced. Guys like Taylor Walker, Tom Lynch, Josh Jenkins, Eddie Betts. Are you saying that those guys, if their form doesn't improve, might be out of the side?
Well, I think in any organisation, you're in a position whereby performance holds you in the team. So, whether it's the guys you're mentioning or it's anyone in the midfield or whatever else, I mean, we need to make sure we're consistently performing to a high standard. That's as simple as any team. That's how it functions.
There was maybe there was a bit of buzz ahead of round one that finally get to see midfield with the Crouch brothers and Gibbs and Sloan. Is maybe having everyone back in there unsettled Bryce's role at all? No,
I don't think so. I think the situation with Bryce is as simple as I said. His form's been patchy, and we've got a Cam Ellis-Yeoman who has played really well through JLT, played really well in his 2 sample games, and so he comes in.
No concern that it's too like for like and just another inside midfielder for another inside midfielder?
No, not at all.
Are you expecting, as much as you can, I suppose, a strong response this week against North Melbourne?
Yeah, look, we come off obviously disappointing last week. We did a fair bit right last week. We played a good side in Geelong, but we didn't get the result. And there's some things we learn out of that, and we need to respond. Yeah, I mean, we're playing a side that's 0-3. We're going to be desperate to get a win on the board. There, I think on the record is saying it's going to be about pressure and contest, and so we've got to make sure we're up for that fight, and we've got to make sure that we're ready to go. So we get back to playing consistently the sort of footy we know is capable of winning games, which is what we need to do come tomorrow night.
Is there a chance for Bryce to get back in the side after 1 week, or is it a case you have to sort of be or show consistent form in the?
No, there's no timeline on this. I mean, again, don't read too much into it. He's going back to play a game of footy back at Sanford level with clarity of what he needs to do to earn his spot and back in the team. Now, I expect that he can force his way back in the team pretty quickly. Whether that's 1 week or longer, I don't know. Let's see how he performs.
I suppose we as the media and the supporters are just trying to work out what he actually needs to do in the Sanford to get his spot back in the side.
Well, that's, again, what are you sort of wondering? What he needs to actually, are you talking stats or numbers, or are we looking at what he needs to do from
outside of that? Because obviously his stats in the game last week were actually pretty good, but it's obviously other parts of his game.
Correct, that's the other parts of his game, which I said I'm not going to go into in terms of detail, but the reality is he needs to improve in certain areas, which we've been talking to him about, and I'm confident he will.
How close was Sam Jacobs to playing?
Yeah, he's probably 2 or 3 days short. Unfortunately for Sam, he got out there on Wednesday and sort of started doing some of his warm-up stuff. Probably struggled a little bit with some of the change of direction stuff. So we're really confident he'll be all right for the following week. But he was pretty close.
Do you think Riley O'Brien will be better second time round? around?
I think it's, he's a 3-game player now, so he's going to get another 25% of his career will be played on Saturday night. So he plays another good ruckman in Goldstein, and he's learning all the time. And he certainly learned out of last week, so I expect he'll come forward again.
Probably his biggest test yet, up against Goldstein.
Stanley was in good form last week, so there's no easy form lines in the AFL. So but Goldstein experienced guy, so he's had a good look at his vision and knows what he needs to do against Goldstein.
Where's Hugh Greenwood at?
Yeah, Hugh's progressing well. I mean, as I said to you probably a couple of weeks ago, he needed some games in the Sandful. He's now got those games. Now it's about performing in the Sandful to a really high level. And his performance has been okay, but he can go to another level, I think, to really demand his way back into the team on performance.
And Jordan Gallucci in a similar mould there?
Yep, he's about the same. He's come back and played a couple of solid games in Sandful, and we're just looking for a little bit more out of Jordan to put his name up for AFL selection.
You weren't tempted by a bit more pace or maybe outside run?
No, we felt we're okay in that space. It was probably a bit of a like for like, and we bring in Miles Paholke as well. That comes in for seed, so he's been in good form. So again, it's rewarding form. That's what we're looking at. Is the system needs to operate on the basis that guys who are playing well demand the game. Others that if they're not, then if we need to make changes, we make changes.
Speaking of seedsmen, better news than...
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I must admit I was driving in last Friday morning when I got the call and he had the scan and it wasn't the ACL, which he was hugely relieved, as you can imagine. He's gone from missing a year to, don't know, at this stage we're still waiting for it to settle down, but it's going to be clearly shorter than a year. So yeah, fantastic news for him. And he's sort of off the crutches now and wandering around, so hopefully that recovery can be shorter than longer, and we see him back out there playing.
Don, Lachlan Shoal was really good in the Sandful
last
week. Is he someone that maybe not straight away, but in a few weeks could be pushing? Yeah,
well, look, he generated a fair bit of ball for us last week down there, which was great. And he's a young guy coming in. He's an elite ball user, and he's working on his defending craft as well, which is natural for a guy coming out of there. So he's showing some really positive signs, and we project he's going to be a player for us, which is great.
And Dustin Fogarty probably struggled a little bit last week defensively in the Sandful.
Yep.
Something still working with him in his defensive structures?
Good learning for him last week. It's more positioning, bit of body work. We know the sort of competitor that Darcy is. It's probably just some learning for him, and some of that learning will be for him playing as a back, but also if he then goes back and plays forward, learning off some of the high quality forwards in Sandful. So he'll get another opportunity down there tomorrow as well.